Hi, my name's Glen Gerreyn, and here's a key concept from our Day of Hope presentation. It's called Seeds of Greatness. I believe everybody on this planet has what is known as seeds of greatness, innate abilities, strengths, or talents. For instance, for some people it might be music. They don't just read music, but they hear music and they can play a tune. For some people it's like dance. They have this rhythm in their bones. They actually feel music on the inside of them. For some people who are maybe football players or netball players, they know where the ball should be 3 or 4 plays in front. They see things other people cannot see. For some people it's like this deep sense of empathy. They don't just give sympathy, they give empathy. When someone's going through something, they actually feel like it's actually happening to them. Others, it might be resilience. They have been knocked down so many times. Every time they get knocked down, they just get straight back up. For some people, it's like this sense of justice. They've always known the difference between right and wrong. They've just kind of always known it. Everybody on this planet has these inclinations. I'm not talking about brilliance, because brilliance takes hard work and takes persistence, but an inclination towards a certain area. But what do you do with those inclinations is this. There are 5 steps. Number 1, you take that seed of greatness and you plant it in good soil. What does that mean? It means you put it in a good environment with good coaches, good mentors, good trainers, good teachers. Hey, tell me, why do the best athletes in the world have a coach? They have a coach because they know they can't mine that gift by themselves. Think about this. If your gift is not in a good environment, if it's not being nurtured, supported, and coached and tutored, it's actually not going to grow, right? Has to be in a good environment. For instance, when I was in high school, I was a sprinter. I never trained in a sprint squad where I was the fastest sprinter. I always trained in squads with the guys who were older than me, faster than me, stronger than me. You know what that did? It made me turn up at training ready to perform every single time. Because I couldn't just go through the routine of training. I actually had to be ready to perform. Listen, if you want to be outstanding, put yourself in an environment where the standards are high. Also, let me actually talk to some of you who, I'm not talking about those who've just got this idea today. I'm talking about those who've been thinking about this for maybe the last 12 months. You've been thinking for at least the last 12 months, you need to either change coaches or change clubs. But you know what you keep doing? Is you keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. You know why? Because you're so afraid of change. You know what I'd rather you do? I'd rather you change for 6 months or 12 months than actually have to change back, than actually not to change at all. Because in the change, you're going to learn something different. Listen, I was speaking to a young girl in Melbourne who's a swimmer, and she wanted to change swim squads. And she'd just keep putting it off because when you change swim squads, you actually have to trial. And she was too afraid, what if she trialed and she didn't make it? But after hearing me speak, she got up the courage, got her mum to make the appointment, was just about to jump in the pool to do the swim trial when the head coach, angry look on her face, comes walking over. Now she's already nervous as it is. The head coach says to her, "What are you doing?" And the young girl said, "Well, I want to try. I'd love to try out for one of your squads." Head coach said, you don't need to trial. I've been watching the state trials for the last 2 or 3 years. We'd love to have you as part of our squad. You know the thing that she was afraid of? She actually didn't have to be afraid of at all. Sometimes the fear that you're experiencing is actually just an illusion. It's not even real. Number 2, what do you have to do? You have to water that seed. What does that mean? Practice, train, study, rehearse. You have to work on your talent. Your talent is going to grow by itself. You have to water it. You have to turn the soil. For instance, let me illustrate it like this. Do you know that in the nation of Australia, 1,000 divorces happen every single week in this country? 50,000 a year. You know one of the reasons why I think that happens? Is because everyone thinks the grass is greener on the other side. And the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. Work on your own talents, work on your own abilities. They're the ones that will thrive and will grow. Stop paying attention to everybody else. Most people today are standing on their fence, looking over the other side, watering everyone else's garden. See, this is part of the problem with social media, is you keep judging your gift or comparing yourself to everybody else. Listen, spend so much time in your own grass, you don't even notice anybody else's. Listen, there's this great quote by a guy by the name of Stephen Furtick, and he says this. So the reason why there's so much insecurity in the world is because we keep judging our day-to-day based upon everyone else's highlights reel. Number 3 is to do. Number 3 is you have to pull out the weeds. What are the weeds? Doubt, fear, negativity. If you don't get rid of the weeds, those weeds will grow, they'll choke out that plant will never reach its full potential. You have to get rid of the weeds. For instance, I have like 5,000 friends, right, on my Facebook page, which is like the maximum you're allowed to have on a personal profile. They won't let you accept any more people past 5,000. So let's have a public profile. A public profile, I've got like another 13,500 people. You know what blows my mind as I'm going through my news feed is how many comments people make are negative. Have you noticed there's always someone whining and complaining about something? And do you know when you whine and complain about it, actually doesn't make the problem go away? What it actually does is it amplifies the problem, multiplies it. Why? Because now you've got all 44 of your friends all commenting on that same issue. You know what you basically did? Is you just watered the weeds. Listen, I'm not saying you won't have negative thoughts. All I'm saying is don't hold on to them. Don't hold on to the weeds. Hug the tree. Number 40 to do. Be patient, go through the seasons. What are the seasons? And listen, your life is not going to go from here to here. Your life, I promise you, is going to be full of ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, highs and lows. And the problem is far too many people give up during the dark seasons. You know when things aren't going well? Do you know when your PBs aren't improving? Do you know when results aren't getting any better? Do you know when it feels like everything's falling apart? You're in a season. Don't give up during the dark seasons. Listen, I was in New Zealand at this big youth conference in Queenstown. This young girl comes up to me and says, "This is Glenn. I'm battling with depression. I don't know what to do." You know what I said to her? I said, "Listen, I don't want to make light of what you're going through. What you're going through is tough. It is difficult. It is hard. You got to understand something. This is a season. Your life isn't always going to be like this." Even one of the main mental health providers in this country is now starting to say, we've got to stop telling young people that depression is a life sentence. It's not a life sentence, it's a season. And if you know it's a season, you'll find is hope. And guess what? If there is hope in your future, there'll be power in your present. Because I know this, no matter how dark the storm is you're going through right now, I know this for a fact, ready? No storm lasts forever. No storm on this planet lasts forever. Then I was at this big girls' school, North Shore of Sydney. This girl comes up to me and says, "This is Glenn, I'm number 10 in Australia for the 1500 metre freestyle event." I said, that's amazing, that's fantastic. She said, "Glenn, you don't understand, I feel like giving up." I said, "Why would you give up? You're like number 10. She said, "Glenn, you don't understand, I haven't broken my PB for 2 years." I said, "And? Don't you know all great athletes go through slumps, go through difficulties? Have you ever seen an Australian Test cricket player go through a slump? These guys are professional athletes. This is what they get paid to do. And they experience seasons where things aren't going all that well." Listen, I heard this great story. Justin Langer, Australian Test cricket player, right? When he first got picked to play for Australia, everything was going really well. But then he hit some poor form. So he got dropped from the Australian team. Imagine that. So he got dropped from the C team and you gave up. He got dropped from the Australian team. He said, "I had a decision to make. Am I going to be content to play at a state level for the rest of my life? Or am I going to get myself back in the nets, get myself a new coach, and work my way back up into an international standard?" That's exactly what he did. Listen, some of you have a decision to make. The decision isn't to quit. The decision is to dig deep, ride out this season that you're in, and come back stronger. Number 5 is to do. You have to wait for that seed to grow into a tree. We can sit on the shade of the tree, pick the fruit, eat the fruit, and feel fulfilled. Does that make sense to anybody? You want successful people to do? Successful people to see enormous possibility in the tiny. You know that gift you have? It may not look like much. It may look like a tiny little seed. What if you took that seed and planted it and watered it and got rid of the weeds? And that little gift could become? That little gift could actually become a massive oak tree. Successful people see big things in little things. Hey, take care.